Hi, welcome to a new video, and in this one I want to talk about the subject of having an everyday carry camera and or having an everyday carry bag. Now there is a slight distinction between the two. An everyday carry camera is just something that you can carry around with you easily and conveniently to take a photograph should you want to. Now, being perfectly honest, in a lot of cases, your phone will do the job in terms of that. I know full well, for example, that my everyday carry bag that I tend to use, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a moment, is not necessarily something I can get away with carrying in every single circumstance. For example, if my wife and I are going out for an meal, I'm probably not going to get away with taking it, so hence the reason why in those circumstances my phone will do the job. And I've posted up plenty of photographs that I've taken on and edited on my phone in Pro mode, so it gives me a raw output, and I've got some decent shots on there that I actually like and have shown, shared and even exhibited in some cases. But that's getting off topic a little bit. I've explained what an everyday carry camera is, but I tend to go for an everyday carry bag, and I will explain why. One is, I personally think, even as a man, having a bag is a useful thing to have and carry around. Now, this is my everyday carry bag. It is a leather bag, just a leather messenger bag my wife actually gave me. It's extremely useful. It doesn't blatantly look like a camera bag. Now, I did buy and hopefully you can see that in there, I did buy an insert for it that fits in there quite nicely to give me some padding for my cameras, and it's also got a little pull-out pouch where spare batteries, memory cards, film, etc. can go in there. Now, the reason why I personally go for an everyday carry bag is because I'm normally carrying two cameras with me at any given time. Now, the reason for that is I like to carry both a digital camera and a film camera with me. Now, my digital camera I have settled for the moment on what my everyday carry camera is, and we'll come on to that in a moment. But I'm still trying to work out what is going to be my everyday carry film camera, because I've got quite a few choices in that regard. So I've got a Minox 35 that I have run some film through. That film's actually off for processing at the moment, so I'm waiting to see what that comes back and what the images are like. I'm currently running a colour film through my Canon Dial 35-2 to see what it's like with colour film, so this is currently in my bag as my everyday carry film camera. I've also got an Olympus XA and an Olympus XA2, which I'm yet to run films through to see what they're like. So, as I say, I'm still very much experimenting on what my everyday carry film camera will be. So having a bag that I can swap in and out cameras for is, for me, very useful and very important. In terms of my digital camera, however, I have settled on one, and that's what I want to show you now and talk a little bit about. And you've been seeing some images from that as I've been talking, and you'll carry on seeing them. And that is this. It is a Canon PowerShot G15. Now, I settled on the G15 very specifically because I know there's quite a movement at the moment, I think, is probably the best way of explaining it, to around the G10 because of its CCD sensor. And don't get me wrong, I love a good CCD sensor as much as anybody. I think they do give you quite a unique colour profile on them, and I really do like it. However, the issue for me on that is this is not something I just want to take out and play around with every now and again. This is a camera that I want that I can use in the widest possible set of circumstances. And for me, the sensor in the G10 and the likes of it just doesn't have a good enough high ISO level of quality, and the noise starts getting really, really intrusive on those, based on what I've seen, not necessarily what I've tried. I've not tried a G10, but that's why I went for the G15, because it's got a CMOS sensor in there. It's high ISO performance based on the images I've seen and my own experimentation with it. Is more than good enough. The other reason why I wanted to go for the G15 as well is because it's got, if I just pop it back up there, it's got an f1.8 to f2.8 lens on there. So as well as having that extreme, that better high ISO performance, it's also got an extremely fast lens on it, certainly for a zoom lens. So it powers on quite nicely, and the zoom is not overly intrusive in terms of its size, but the other thing is when it turns off, it's nice and slim. Now, that slimness does come at the expense. Previous models had an articulating LCD screen on the back. This one is fixed. I wanted it to be as compact as possible, hence the reason why I went for the G15, which doesn't have the articulated screen, but it does shave a little bit off of the width. I also wanted something with a viewfinder, but calling the viewfinder on this a viewfinder, it is being generous at best. It is purely an optical tunnel. It does zoom with the zoom setting, and you do get quite used to framing with it, but it is a little bit like using an old 35mm viewfinder camera. It does at least give you a green LED lighting up to tell you it's locked on focus, but you won't know what it's locked on focus to, which is a bit of a problem. But it's still nice to have it and nice to be able to use it. It's even got a diopter adjustment on it, which I quite like. The nice thing is, however, the LCD screen on the back of it does work well even in bright sunlight, so it is quite nice from that point of view. You can use it in quite a wide variety of situations. It's nicely constructed. It's metal bodied, and you can feel it. It's got a little grip on there. It's not huge, but it's enough to get a decent grip on it. You've got two command dials, so you've got one, just moving closer there, you've got one on the front just there, and then you've got a rotary wheel one on the back. So if you are using it in manual, you're not messing around, you've got a dial dedicated to each of them, which is quite nice. Button wise up the top, you've got your mode selector just here. I tend to keep it in aperture priority, being perfectly honest, but you've got the full shutter and manual and program and a load of other doodads in there should you need it. Zoom is on the power button, as you would expect, but then really useful and well placed is this thumb wheel here, which is your exposure compensation, which will give you plus or minus 3 stops of exposure compensation in a third of a stop clicks, and I find that incredibly useful when I'm shooting with this, because it does allow you to set your aperture or shutter speed, or both if you're in manual, and then very quickly and easily dial in your required degree of exposure compensation, and you can actually see what's happening on the back of it. it's also got a really good macro mode and a workable manual focus on it, which is quite interesting, because it does allow you to get really close with this. I think the closest you can get at the wide end is about 10 centimetres away, and the telephoto end I think is around about 30 centimetres away. So it is actually, in fact it may even be closer than that. I will check and put the corrections up on screen for you with regard to that. I think it may even be closer than that. But it does allow you to get really quite close. No, it's not macro lens close, but it is, for an everyday carry camera, extremely close. And it's at that point that the manual focus comes in extremely useful, and is actually fairly intuitive and easy to use. It's not quick. You're not going to be easily catching, you know, insects in flight with this or anything like that. Well, you probably could with a bit of trial and error, but you know, it's not designed for that. But it does make it a really versatile and usable camera to be able to carry every single day. So it's a combination of these kind of things. It's even, I've never really used it, got a little pop-up flash. No idea what it's like. I don't think I've ever used it, but there we go. It's just really small, really nice, really light, but gives excellent image quality. It's got those famous Canon colours in there, so it gives you some really good, nice images. And it's just an easy camera for me to literally pop in a bag, throw on my shoulder, and carry around with me with my everyday carry film camera. So that's what is in my everyday carry bag and why I have an everyday carry bag. So let me know down in the comments section, do you have an everyday carry camera that you carry around with you? If you do, let us know what it is down in the comments below and what your experience of it is and why you went for it. Do you carry more than one camera around? Do you not bother? Do you use your phone? Have a chat about it down in the comments section below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button. And if you want to see more content like this, please do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when new videos get uploaded. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. Take care. Bye.